Joining us for a special chat today, we have Aditya Kanti, who is the President and MD of Omnicom Advertising India. We are catching up in this beautiful building, which was earlier known as Mudra House, but no more. It's now Omnicom House, and of course, this holding company has been through a lot over the past 1 year, especially the past few weeks, bringing in Omnicom and IPG agencies together, and the man leading all of this has been Aditya Kanti, who's joining us today. Aditya, in my career of covering advertising, this is one of the biggest mergers and acquisitions, at least I have tracked and I have seen and covered. What was it like? What has been the past 1 year been like for you sitting in India? What is the kind of conversations that you've had with global leaders when this merger happened at such a scale across the world?
You're right, Shibani. Thank you. Lovely to see you again, and thank you for having me. You're right, in our careers, respective careers, this is quite a seismic moment, quite a significant one because of the scale of it. And it has global implications, it has local implications. So for me, as for everyone else in the company, it's been quite a heady few months. It's also been a year of waiting because of the regulatory approvals across the world, as you know.
Yeah.
But it is a moment which I think will define not just Omnicom and its agencies, but perhaps a signal for what the future of our business is going to look like as well, right? Sure. It is well reported and been widely discussed that the agency business is heading towards consolidation, not just within conventional agency holding groups, but also with other companies interested in our business, right? I think Omnicom wants to be at the forefront of that change and not to be reactive to that shift in the industry when consolidation and scale matter at a global level, definitely, to be able to create the room for the investment that you need to be better at what we do and to be more meaningfully connected to client companies and the full journeys that customers today are taking in their buying decisions. So I think it's a historic opportunity, not just at a meta industry level, but for everybody working in this company as well, me included, right? And in India, we have a lot of respect for the IPG agencies. They're incredible companies, and they add a serious heft to what we can take to our clients together as Omnicom and IPG. So I think there's that specificity of an India opportunity that is also very exciting.
With IPG, of course. So globally, I have seen that globally, McCann, TBWA, and of course, BBDO has been retained. In India, you guys have made it a point to also retain Lintas, Ulka as well. What has been the rationale behind that? Or is it a temporary concession? Moving on, is it going to merge with another agency? What is it? Give us an understanding.
Yeah, it's not a temporary concession, as you say. I mean, you asked me what we were up to all year. I think this was a big part of that process. Omnicom has been very mindful and very focused on doing what is right for every local market as well, right? And a set of decisions have to be taken at a global level to have the company ready for the future based on what global clients need, based on the relevance of the brands, based on the expectations of clients. And once those decisions were taken, every market of consequence, India being one of them, was looked at specifically to say, okay, listen, what do we need to do in the portfolio to ensure that we are well prepared in this market too? And that process of investigation, thinking, of the strategic work in the design of the organization is what resulted in the decision to retain the Mudra brand, the Lintas brand, and the Ulka brand. It's a tribute to the strength of these agencies. It's a tribute to the
legacy, the decades of legacy.
Yeah, the equity. I mean, I think it's a future-facing conversation, right? I think legacy is a slightly loaded word because it feels like nostalgia. I think it's much more of a pragmatic, future-facing decision because we know these are strong brands, right? And if they're strong brands that clients want to work with, they're strong brands that help attract good talent in, then it's a very strategic choice to keep them in the portfolio and to build from there. It's the same thing, Shibani, with the digital spine as well, right? To be able to take Connect out of the IPG agencies and kind of unlock it, to take 22 feet out of the Omnicom agencies and unlock it, to take MRM out and to kind of create what I think is now the country's strongest digital spine, and to make all of our clients feel like they have access to those capabilities in a form that they want it. These are things that have been done, decisions that have been taken that underline very, very clearly how important it is for Omnicom to do what is right for that market. And I think in India, what we said would be required to set us up to win has been heard. And I'm quite happy.
I'm just going to pick on something that you said, which you said is legacy is a loaded word. Do you look at it as sort of a baggage in today's day and age, a legacy agency tag?
This is a question that comes up all the time, doesn't it, of legacy agencies, holding group agencies, independent agencies. I've maintained that there are good agencies and there are bad agencies, right? And the holding group structure in that specific context, or the independent structure in that specific context, isn't particularly enlightening, because you can run a really good agency in either of those contexts, and you can run a pretty terrible one in either of those contexts.
Absolutely.
I think Omnicom's unique in that it's always maintained. You know this from 40 years of work and decision making at Omnicom, that the holding group always operates with a light touch and with a clarity that our job is to be useful to the agencies which are being experienced by our clients and into which our talent comes in. Yeah. So I think that belief, whether it's a well-established agency network globally or a new one, has always been at the heart of how we've thought about the portfolio. And I don't believe, I actually think having a good agency equity is useful, which is why we've kept these brands, right? It would have been very fashionable and made a headline to kind of say otherwise, but I think brands matter.
Yeah, I'm sure brands matter, and a lot of questions would have come in from the clients that, we hired you for this specialization or this specialist. So what is going to be the future of that? We wanted to work with this person. Yes. So what is going to be the future of that? We wanted to work with this team. Yes. So how are you soothing or answering some of these, client anxieties and questions as well, if you can help us understand with this, like mega merger happening so soon?
Yeah, good question. And now going back to your original one, what were you doing for the last year? What were you doing for the last 60 days? So the last year was really about preparing for the strategic roadmap, right? The last 60 days has been to answer these questions for our people and our clients, right? And the reason why that strategic work was so important leading up to the acquisition in India is to be able to answer that question with confidence for our clients. The fact that we have retained some of those agencies means a lot to the clients of those agencies who worked with those companies for, in some cases, 30, 40 years, right? So the respect for that client-agency relationship, I think, was signaled by the decision to retain that agency brand. Equally, Shibani, we've done, I think, the job of listening to our clients and to our people by retaining pretty much all of the client-facing talent and a lot of really, really good talent, which was the point of the acquisition in this new structure, right? So many of our leaders are people who come from this, from the old IPG agencies and the old Omnicom agencies, and we put them together in newer contexts, but with really strong starting points, a good foundation for them in their new configurations to be able to succeed. And that's what our clients want. I think our clients have been spoken to by the people that they trust and been told that they are there in a new environment, but very much with the continuity of the teams that they valued. And our clients are business builders. Our clients understand that in an acquisition, some change will happen, but their real interest is in the teams that they're working with, the leaders that they're working with, and our new structure has allowed for that to happen.
Since you brought the topic of talent, advertising is people's business, and with mega mergers and acquisitions like this, there is a lot of anxiety and questions raised by internal people and the talent within, including the leadership. मेरे जॉब का क्या होगा, what is going to happen to my role and my presence in this organization. So how effectively have you addressed this as a leader?
We've tried to do it as effectively as possible and with as much transparency and clarity as possible. We've always maintained that whatever decisions we take will be based on what is right for the organization. It'll be based on what is right for the client. And that is why we have arrived at the decisions that we've arrived, and which is why I think we've been comfortable having conversations openly with the leaders and with our clients about why we're doing what we're doing. We've also had to make some tough decisions in areas where we believe that it has to be done to help to prepare the organization for the future and to do what is right to create investment in areas where it makes a big difference to clients, right? So on that question of jobs, for example, or their roles, for example, specifically, we've been very clear that in areas which are not client-facing, in support functions, with the scale of this organization in its entirety, there is obviously places where there's duplication, right, in support services, and we've tried to do what is right for the org in those areas. I think the teams understand it. It is not a conversation everyone wants to have, but it is an important conversation to have, and people, there is a level of maturity and understanding, I think, in today's business environment, where as long as the reasons are clear, as long as the guiding principle and philosophy is clear, which in our case is to protect and invest in client-facing talent across the group as much as possible, and to be clear about the places where those efficiencies need to be generated, which is really in areas where we do believe we can work smarter and better
and avoid
duplication.
Absolutely.
And that has to be done. It's the right thing to do.
Thank you so much, Aditya. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for this conversation.
Thank you so much.
And all the best for what lies ahead for Omnicom Advertising.
Thanks for having me, Shivani. It's been fun chatting with you as always.